On the day of Ashura, there were many farewells, many goodbyes. But perhaps the most painful one was when Abu Abdullah came to his women and children. عليكن من السلام. On the one hand, Imam Hussein knows that after he is killed, 30,000 troops will target their attacks on his women and children. Throughout the battle, Abu Abdullah was looking in two directions, one towards the enemy and the other towards his family. Even when the Imam fell to the ground, Imam al-Zaman says in Ziyarat al-Nahiyah that the Imam kept looking back and forth. So it must have been unspeakably painful for him to come and bid them farewell. Ya Zainab, Ya Kulthum, Ya Rabab, ala Rabab, tonight is the night of Rabab. Ya Ruqayya, Ya Sakina, the women, the children, they all came out crying, beating their heads. They surrounded Abu Abdullah. Sukaina said to her father, Abba, ردنا إلى حرم جدنا رسول الله. Take us back to the shrine of our grandfather. Imam al-Hussein replied to them, he consoled them, he said, استعدوا للبلاء أيوة ويله ومصيبته. Get ready for affliction. وَعَلَيْكُنَّ بِالصَّبْرِ. Be patient, that's all I can tell you. وَعَلَيْكُنَّ بِالصَّبْرِ وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ حَامِيكُنْ وَحَافِظُكُنَّ مِنْ شَرِّ الْأَعْدَاءِ. You should know that it's going to be very difficult, but Allah will protect you from these animals. The Imam bid them all farewell. Then the second time, when the Imam, he headed towards battle and came back one last time. The Imam can't let go of his children. The Imam has to say his goodbyes one more time. But we know there is another reason. The Imam still has one more soldier who has to head to battle. One last arrow that the Imam has to shoot. One last sacrifice. أخي زينب ناوليني ولدي الرضيع لأودعه. My sister Zainab, give me my infant. I wish to bid him farewell. I want to see him one last time. أيوا حسينا وغريبا. I ask you, Rubab was there in Karbala. Why did Imam al-Hussein say, my sister, bring me my infant boy? Because Rubab could no longer bear look in the eyes of her son. She has no milk to nurse him with. وهو يتلظى عطشا. It's like when you take a fish out of the water. The fish will jump up and down for a while and then it just calms down. The boy could only open his lips and close them and move his tiny tongue inside his mouth. He had reached a stage where even if he was given water, he still wouldn't survive. Even if you throw this fish back in the water, it'll probably die. But the Imam wanted to quench his thirst so he doesn't die thirsty. Zainab brought the infant. She said, Ya Aba Abdullah, inna al-labana qad jaffa fi thadi ummih. His mother doesn't have any more milk. Look at his face, the eyes sunken into their sockets, the tongue barely moving. The Imam took his boy. He headed towards the enemy. The enemy was shocked. The Imam looked different from every other time. Instead of wielding his sword, he had a boy in his hand. Instead of riding on a horse, he was on a camel. The Imam raised him high and said, Ya Qawm, laqad qataltum ashabi wa awladi. You've killed everyone I had. You killed my companions. You killed my boys, my sons, my family. وَلَمْ يَبْقَ إِلَّا هَذَا الرَّضِيعُ. All I have left is this. فَاسْقُوهُ شَرْبَةً مِنَ الْمَاءِ. Give him a drink of water. How much does an infant need to drink? Take him yourselves and feed him. Some of the enemy troops, they sympathized with him. They said, إِن كَانَ لِلرِّجَالِ ذَنْبٌ فَمَا ذَنْبُ هَذَا الرَّضِيعُ. If the adults had committed a crime, what sin has this boy committed? Others repeated their slogan, لا تبقوا لأهل هذا البيت من باقية. There was chatter between them. Umar ibn Sa'd, fearing insurrection, pointed to his main archer, Harmala. Imam as-Sajjad would say, Allahumma adhiqhu harra al-hadid. Oh Allah, only you know what Harmala did to the family of Rasulullah. He looked at him, he said, اقطع نزاع القوم. Put an end to the dispute. Harmala said to him, أقتل الوالد أم الولد. Do I kill the father or the son? Umar ibn Sa'd said to him, do you not see the whiteness of his neck? أجرك الله بقية الله. So he put a three-pronged arrow in his bow and shot in the direction of Ali al-Asgar. Arbab al-Maqatil say the boy began fluttering like a slaughtered bird. Abu Abdullah looked at him. He saw the arrow had cut his jugular vein. رحم الله من نادى وحسينا وغريبا ومظلوما. The Imam then put his hand under his neck. He scooped up the blood. He then threw it to the sky. He said, إلهي إن كان هذا يرضيك فخذ حتى ترضى. If this pleases you, then take as much as you want to be pleased. The Imam then said with a sad voice, he said, هون ما نزل بي أنه بعين الله. What makes this bearable is that it is in sight of Allah. At this moment, the only divine consolation to come to Abu Abdullah on the day of Ashura was this moment. A caller was heard saying, دعه يا حسين فإن له مرضعة في الجنة. Let him go, Ya Aba Abdullah. He has a nursemaid waiting for him in paradise. تلقى حسين دم الطفل بيده. إيش حال اللي ينشتل بيده وليده وذبل السما وللقاع ما خار. Aba Abdullah tried to head back to the camp. They say that the Imam would take a few steps forward and a few steps backwards. How does he go back to the camp with Ali al-Asgar slaughtered? How does he look into the eye of Rabab? How does he face his sister Zainab? What if Sakina says to him, Father, surely they fed my brother and you brought back the leftover water? What does the Imam do? Instead, the Imam goes to the back of the camp. He digs a shallow grave with the tip of his sword and he buried his boy while drenched in blood. But that burial didn't last too long. You know where I'm going with this? On the day of Ashura, on the 11th of Muharram, each tribe came and they severed the heads. They took a head as a trophy back to Ibn Ziyad. One tribe was left without a head. Somebody said to them, I can help you with that. I saw Hussein bury someone behind his tent. They went to that grave. Ya nas, ya nas, حتى الطفل ذبحوه ومن بعد الدفن يا ناس طلعوه وفوق الرمح أيوة ويلاه ومصيبته. He said, I know a grave. So they came to the grave of Abdullah al-Radhi'. Now imagine this encounter between Rubab and Lady Zainab. Rubab would say to Zainab, Sayyidati, didn't you tell me that Abu Abdullah buried my boy? She would say, yes, I saw him with my own eyes. And Rubab would reply, then whose head do I see on a spear? رحم الله من نادى ثلاثا حسين.